Towards the end of my video on the Snappy game, I mentioned this, Moorhuhn X, a very late release PS1 game coming out in 2004. In this game, all you do is shoot chickens and that's about it. It turns out that this is actually part of a larger series and was the third in the series to come out on the PS1. The other two games being Moorhuhn 2, Die Jagd geht weiter and Moorhuhn 3. And yep, these games are just about shooting chickens too. The Moorhuhn games are a very simple series of shooting games that started on the PC back in 1999. This first game was made to advertise Johnnie Walker whiskey and was originally only available to play on laptops set up in bars in Germany. In this game, you shoot chickens by clicking on them, and that's about it. It might not sound like much, but it was very popular. So popular in fact, that the publisher, Fenner Media, decided to give the game a proper release. And this game proved to be popular at home as well, so the game got some sequels. A lot of sequels. And ports and spin-offs and remakes. Just look at all these games, there's loads of them. Many of the games have also been released in English too, mostly under the Crazy Chicken name. But the name Crazy Chicken is somewhat incorrect, because these birds that admittedly do look an awful lot like chickens are actually grouses. Gruses? Grices? Grice. I'm gonna go with Grice. You see, the German word Moorhuhn doesn't mean chicken or refer to what we in English would call a moorhen. Moorhuhn actually means grouse, apparently. The main series Moorhuhn games on the PS1 aren't all that interesting, to be honest. The games are compatible with light guns, so perhaps it'd be more fun with one of those. There's not much in these games at all. They only have one scene with a few different play modes, and that's it. The series did get some spin-offs that strayed from that good old-fashioned finger-licking chicken-clicking formula, including sports games, puzzle games, point-and-click adventures, and even a frickin' RPG. And the PS1 got a spin-off from that series too. It got this, Moorhuhn Kart, released in 2003. And trust me, you're in for a real treat with this one. And by treat, I mean severe PTSD. It's basically mandatory for any colourful family-friendly franchise to get a kart racer at some point. Although, I'm not sure I'd call a game about killing animals to advertise whiskey family-friendly, but here we are. So let's just plop this game in the system and see how it goes. There's no intro cutscenes, just this static image pops up for a few seconds and then straight to the main menu. The options are Start Race, Kart Duel, and Options. If we choose Start Race, then we get the choices of Time Trials, Grand Prix or 2-player. So let's do a Grand Prix. First, we have to pick a character from the huge roster of a whopping 5 racers. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Jog on, here's the real king of character rosters. So we have the titular Moorhuhn, Less Hoon, Right Wing Meme Frog, generic scarecrow thing, and a snowman. I've played all of the other Moorhuhn games that are available on the PS1, and only Moorhuhn and this pumpkin head guy show up. So who the hell are all these guys? Anyway, let's get to the race, the bit you've all been waiting for. Oh. This looks rough. Mario Kart, this clearly is not. Not only does this look rough, it controls it too. The steering is so incredibly sensitive. If you want to turn a corner, you have to just slightly tap the analog stick. Anything more, then you'll hit the side of the track or go flying off it. You could use a D-pad if you want, but that's even worse, and it's almost unplayable like that. Once you've sort of gotten the hang of the weird handling and start to race, you'll come across these item boxes, a staple of the kart racing genre. These weapons include a firework that sort of aims itself at an opponent, but usually just goes flying right past them. There's a 16-ton weight, which drops right on the racer in front of you. The chewing gum and stinger power-ups are basically the same thing. You drop them behind you, and if a kart goes over them, they stop dead. It's not like a slowdown or a gradual stop. You go from full speed to 0 instantly, and it just feels really unnatural. I know it might seem a bit silly to complain about something feeling unnatural in a game about driving game foul, but here we are. One of my favourite power-ups is the one that lets you drop a hole in the track behind you. It kind of reminds me of something out of an old Looney Tunes cartoon or something. Another one of my favourites is this overly large cartoon mallet. You get 3 smacks with this, and it is kind of funny that this is even a thing in this game. But there is a problem with it. It creates a huge blind spot right in front of you, so it can easily obscure obstacles and you just go driving straight into them. You also get some staples of the genre like a shield, a turbo boost, and a blue shell bomb thing. By far, the worst power-up is the oil slick balloon. This drops a puddle of oil right in front of you. It's supposed to drop it in front of the racer in front of you, but it usually just misses them and just lands right in front of you, and you just go driving straight into it. It's more of a power down than a power up, to be honest. You know how in good kart races like Crash Team Racing or Mario Kart, the power-ups that are available change depending on what position you are when you get them. So you don't go getting a bullet bill or a blue shell if you're whizzing ahead in first place. But in Moorhuhn Kart, yeah, you don't get anything like that. So you can get this blue shell bomb type thing, even if you're speeding ahead in first place. If you use it, then sometimes it will just go speeding off into the distance and whizzing around and getting you again. Or sometimes it will just come back and get you immediately. You having a laugh? Seriously, you having a fucking laugh? There are 5 tracks to race on in this game. The first one has cows and green fields and that kind of thing. The next one is a desert, and then another desert. Then there's an icy place and a volcano lava kind of place. The icy world is probably the best looking track, as it actually has a bit of character to it. Not loads, but it has some. There are the odd walrus and penguin here and there, and all the icicles in this ice cave that kind of make it stand out a bit. All the other tracks, and even this one to an extent, just looks so barren and empty. There's just nothing there. The worst offenders for this are the 2 desert levels. Just an endless expanse of sand and bugger all else. The textures all look rough and dirty, yet horribly plain. This game is really not nice to look at all. The frame rate is not exactly what you'd call silky smooth either. And if you go to a rare part of a track that actually has something going on, like a tunnel, then the game just craps itself and the frame rate goes through the floor. The terrible graphics aren't a limitation of the system. Just compare this to Crash Team Racing. That game came out 4 years earlier and looks a million times better. Even Rascal Racers, a rather infamous and rather shite PS1 kart racer, completely wipes the floor with Moorhuhn Kart in terms of graphics. Moorhen Kart just looks so lifeless in comparison. It's absolutely tragic. The track designs leave a lot to be desired too. All of the tracks are so narrow, it makes it such a pain in the arse to overtake other racers or dodge obstacles. This makes that terrible balloon weapon even worse. Yeah, good luck dodging that. If you go even remotely near an edge, your kart just goes and jumps off. Or straight into the ground in front of you because you were nowhere near the fucking edge anyway. This corner on the volcano level really gets my goat. It then blows my goat up with dynamite and tries to force feed me its entrails. You have a corner here and the track goes even narrower than normal. So if you think you're taking it okay, even when you're nowhere near the edge, you go flying off. It's so irritating, it happens almost every time. There are alternate routes and shortcuts in this game, which, to be honest, is a nice surprise. Sort of. There are these bridges on the canyon level, but they fall down once you've driven over them once, so you can't use them again, not in any of the future laps. And neither can any of the other racers, even in multiplayer. And the second bridge sends you straight into a wall, so it kind of negates any time saving that the bridge would have made anyway. You could try and steer around to avoid crashing into the wall, but if you do, then... On the volcano level, it looks like there might be a shortcut or something here, where there's this extra track over there. I thought maybe you could jump over to it, as, you know, scenery like this is so rare in the game, but nope. It's just a trap. Sound-wise, this game is a bit of a mixed bag. The music is pretty good. I quite like this country-style hillbilly hoedown track on the canyon level. The sound effects, however, are just awful. On the menus, your ears are assaulted by the most annoying tone every time you go over anything.
Irritant.
When they were making this game, did they go through every possible sound to try and find the most irritating one in existence? What's wrong with just a simple beep? Welcome to Does It Make a Rage-Inducing Noise? The show where we see if a thing makes a rage-inducing noise. This orange, does it make a rage-inducing noise? No, it does not do that. This teeny tiny unicorn, does it make a rage-inducing noise? No, it does not do that. Moorhuhn Kart on the PS1, does it make a rage-inducing noise? Yes, it fucking does. The sounds of the engines are even worse. When there's a bunch of racers close to you, it sounds like there's a swarm of angry bees flying around your head. This is at its worst on the volcano level, as the music is loads quieter on this stage than any of the others. I don't know why they did that, they must have just messed it up. And that's not the only simple thing that they completely ballsed up here. You know how you have a countdown before the start of races in pretty much every racing game? Well, believe it or not, they fucked that up here too. The intervals between each of the lights isn't always the same. Sometimes the countdown is fast. Sometimes it's slow. This makes getting a boosted start incredibly difficult. If you push accelerate just as the green light lights up, you get a boost. If you push it just a nanosecond before, then your engine blows out and you can't move for a few seconds. So it's pretty much down to pure luck as to whether you get a boost at the start or you just blow up. And while we're on the subject of boosting, there's no drifting or power slide mechanics here at all. Yay. Difficulty wise, the biggest challenge comes from the dodgy controls, poor draw distance, narrow tracks and... Once you've learned how to sort of fight against all this, you'll find that the opponents are pretty easy and the AI is damn right moronic. Look at this, I start a race and I don't move. The guy behind me just drives into me and just stays there for ages, not steering round to get round me or anything. And also the game messed up here too by having 2 Moorhuhns in a single race when it's supposed to have one of every character in each race. And if one of the other racers even slightly touches you when you're moving, your kart just goes crazy and instantly turns to face some random direction. And this can often result in a... So I finally managed to beat a Grand Prix. Let's see if it's all been worth it. This is it. A single static image with a crowd cheering sound and nothing else. The guy isn't even facing the screen. I made it through all of the crap in this game and all I get is a big feathery chicken arse. Why can't I escape the cloacas? If you complete it with the other characters, then you get images of them on instead. Jesus, put some clothes on! Why is he sitting like that? It's like he's posing for an issue of Playtoad magazine. So, are any of the other modes any better? Let's find out. The time trial mode is just a race against no one. There's not even a time that you need to beat. Kart Duel is the same thing as the time trial, but you get to race a ghost of your previous time. And the 2-player is just a 2-player mode. But good luck finding someone who'll play Moorhuhn Kart with you. And in the 2-player mode, you don't even get any AI karts to race against. It's just the 2 players. And that's it. That's the whole game. There's no difficulty selection to try and give yourself more of a challenge, so you'll be done with this game pretty damn quickly. The game is bland, lifeless, in content, gameplay and graphics. The music is decent, but is marred by some of the worst sound effects in gaming history. One of the few positives of this game is how the snowman character mounts when he gets hit, which is a nice touch of detail that I seriously wasn't expecting. This is an otherwise terrible game that messes up some of the simplest things. This is by far the worst kart racer I have ever played, and quite possibly the worst PS1 game I've ever played too. So thank you very much for watching this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to share, comment, like, subscribe and smash that bell icon to be notified whenever I upload a video. I'd like to give a humongous thank you to all of my wonderful Patreon supporters, including Taito Adol3, Stuart Christopher Brownlee, Magnus Burzane, Eddie, House of the Ted, AB Silvera aka Fuchsia and Carl Deakin. So thank you all so much for watching this video, and until next time,